killing Trump and statements about killing Trump, but not striking his assets?
There's a recent Iranian newspaper that talked about the different Trump properties that could be hit. I think that's always been on the list, but they've been careful with the escalatory ladder because they have all those psychologists now advising them on Trump's psychology as they interpret it. And the humiliation factor appears to be a big driving factor with Trump under that interpretation. And that is something that they would only want to hit at the right time. In other words, they don't want to hit it to provoke Trump. They want to hit it to punish Trump. And so they got to figure out, when do we want to punish Trump as opposed to provoke Trump? And they're carefully sort of balancing that out as I see it. And they've done it really. I mean, they're the Persians. I don't know why anybody thought this would be a walk in the park, but it's the deathbed of empires. So but I think they'll be careful with Trump. And so far they've done pretty well with that. And at the same time, they've still got to balance out Chinese concerns about the strait being closed for too long. So there's tense relations there, but a lot of economic interdependency present. So I think the Russians are fine with them going full throttle. I mean, you've seen Lavrov's statements recently and others. They've run out of patience. And why in the world Trump approved us hitting a bunch of Russian diesel refineries in the middle of this? I mean, aside from just the insanity of us doing those deep strikes to begin with, why in the middle of a diesel shortage do we want to take Russian diesel offline? That's beyond me. But it gives you a sense of where Trump's at. If Vance can get him out of the delusional thinking stage and back to the MOU mindset, then we could exit from this. And I think there's some aspect of that because he's escalating so quickly. It tells me that he does actually want to get out in a couple of weeks, but he's deluding himself into thinking he'll get an Iranian capitulation by then, when that ain't going to happen.
But that's the bizarre part. Like when you say he's escalating quickly to get an out, but like for him to get an out, to get a concession from the Iranians, he has to escalate more than he did during the war, the peak war. He's bombing them 90% less than what he did during the war, before the ceasefire. 90% less in terms of the number of strikes or targets being struck. Now, the target bank is being expanded, but the number of strikes has dropped significantly. So then the question is, okay, but how far is he going to go? Because if he has to escalate more than he did before, what are we going to see? Him bomb the hell out of the energy infrastructure, then what happens to the Gulf? And that's where it gets easier and easier to fall into the escalation trap. That's a concern that I have. And if you mix that with the Axios scoop that came in 20 minutes ago, the Trump administration has notified Israel that it plans to send dozens of additional refueling aircraft to the country ahead of a possible expansion of U.S. military operations against Iran. Trump is considering broader strikes targeting Iranian infrastructure, nuclear facilities, and underground sites like Pickaxe Mountain, and he could order an escalation in the coming days, though no final decision has been made. The U.S. currently has 60 refueling aircraft stationed in Israel and is considering returning deployment to levels seen at the start of the war. So how far is he going to freaking go? Or is this all a bluff? I just don't fucking know anymore.
Some of it's 75% bluff. He really convinces himself that if Iran believes he'll take out all their infrastructure, that Iran will capitulate, even though he's been told repeatedly and seen repeatedly that does not happen. The other thing he convinces himself of is that really they're so degraded that he just needs to expand the attacks on their perceived Hormuz defenses. And that's the problem with, if people want to get a sense of where Trump's at in terms of, he doesn't really listen to his intelligence and other people. He listens to Fox News. So General Keane and General Kellogg every night are saying just a little bit more here, just a little bit more there, and you'll all be done. It'll all be wrapped up. You just need the 25% left of their Hormuz defenses. You hear Trump saying they can't do anything about it. There's nothing they can do about it. Totally false. It's delusional. But it's his delusional thinking that is the biggest hurdle to getting him to take constructive action. He does flirt with mass attacks back to their civilizational ending attacks that he talked about all the way back in April. But he's been told repeatedly by the military brass that is not a viable option, and it's an option that has a lot of people that will not obey it because of its war crime implications. So it's like he knows he can't go there. He knows he shouldn't go there, but he's tempted to go there because he thinks if he does, or at least threatens to do so, then Iran suddenly will come and capitulate, even though he knows that they can't and won't. So the question is, when does realism creep back into Trump's mindset? When that does is when he's more likely to exit than a deal. But we want the exit rather than the escalation, because right now those are the two tracks he's on. The deal plan is mostly fading in lifetime.
Yeah, man, it is wild. Like I'm just really concerned, Robert, how people have we're at the level of complacency, how people just are fine with bridges and power plants being bombed and desalination plants being bombed. That's really freaking concerning.
Well, in the middle of all this, they're considering passing through Congress a bunch of sanctions on any country that buys Russian oil and gas, which would, of course, be China and India, particularly. And it's like, okay, one, that will cause oil and gas problems to go even higher in energy costs. It will further alienate India in this when India's really kind of been more aligned in our direction than the Chinese direction on to this conflict. And China will be then. Why won't China go right back to okay, no rare earths at all? Good luck rebuilding any of your military. Good luck doing any of the technology you want to do. And why wouldn't that spike oil and gas prices even higher? This is the level of delusional thinking that Trump inhabits. And the problem is, as you point out, it's twofold. Too much complacency in Washington, D.C. about the degree and severity of risk that we face, and a cabinet of cowards that are unwilling to stand up and push back against Trump publicly. Indeed, Hegseth and Rubio, you put up that Iranian newspaper list of people they want to see taken out. Notice Vance wasn't there, by the way. So there is the perception in Iran that Vance is not for this war and is trying to negotiate an outcome is reflected in the fact he's off the assassination list. But Hegseth and Rubio are right there with Trump. And we've unleashed this, borrowing the Israeli strategy of decapitation strikes. I believe you had on, the good professor there about how in the Cold War we avoided that to avoid tit for tat assassinations. Now, Trump borrowing the Israeli assassination obsession increases the risk that our own leaders start getting assassinated. This is not a good thing to put into motion, but you get a sense of just how out of it I'm carried. Other than like the people that have the weird City of London theory, it's like, what 3D chess interpretation of Trump's actions is there left? It's the more consistent interpretation and filter is that he's just mentally in a different state of mind where he convinces himself of things that are just not true and ignores things that are true. And these little bouts of sanity that interrupt his bouts of insanity are not sufficiently in depth and of duration in order to get us out of what is really severe escalatory risk. If we actually do hit the power bridges, one, we can't take it out. They have a very decentralized power grid system. They have their own independent water supply, so the desalination plants will only take a marginal hit on them. By contrast, Israel has a very concentrated system. Most of the Gulf countries have a very concentrated system, both in terms of desalination and in terms of energy, and they can be damaged much more quickly and much easier. But you get a sense of it, like Trump was on the phone with MBS, convinced them to do that little attack on the Houthis. And right away, the Saudis realized that was a mistake and backed right out of it as quickly as they could. But it gives you an idea of where Trump's mindset is. And somebody's got to rein him in. And unfortunately, there's nobody there to do it. Vance is doing what he can, but nobody else is willing to stand up, step in, and pull him back from the very edge. What he himself said was on the very edge of economic precipice and global catastrophe.
If you add to it the increasing rhetoric in Iran about killing Trump, Fars News put out a video. I don't know if you saw it, where to kill Trump. I didn't post the video for obvious reasons, but it gives you all the various paths that he takes on a daily basis and where are the best places to kill him and how. It's a crazy video. And then you have billboards in Tehran that show Trump in a coffin. You've got obviously the Supreme Leader statement talking about revenge, avenging the death of Ali Khamenei. You've got the head of the Supreme National Council doing the same thing. You've also got an Iran-aligned Iraqi militia put a 10 million bounty on Trump's head. That was a couple of days ago or yesterday. That's freaking terrifying. And I don't know how that will impact. Actually, that's a good question for you. How do you think that impacts Trump's decision-making, seeing all these different reports about them wanting to kill him?
I think that, I don't know how much he bought it, the deception campaign to blame Iran for the attempted assassination in Butler, Pennsylvania. I know that there was a plot afoot at that time. My understanding at the time was the thought was they take out Trump, blame Iran, Nikki Haley would be nominated president, Mike Pompeo nominated vice president to get revenge for Trump and win the 2024 election on that platform to start war with Iran. I never bought it, and it made 0 sense whatsoever. Everything about that assassination does not scream Iran. It's also not Iran's modus operandi. I do think what you're seeing now in Iran, though, is not so much institutional desire to assassinate Trump as it is in an effort to satiate the public's demand for vengeance that really peaked throughout the funeral. So I think you're going to see the more public displays you see, the less probable it is that it's anything like that is actually afoot. They're trying to satiate a public that is filled with rage. But as to your point,
but the problem is, I worry how it plays in Trump's mind. Will he be more bloodthirsty, thinking he wants to kill more people with the regime? He's like, okay, shit, for my own survival now, I need to destroy the regime. For my own survival and that of my family, for their security, I need to bring the regime down or destroy Iran. That's the concern that I have.
Yeah, and I mean, he put out basically an invitation to assassination for people who want to destroy Iran by his statement that if I'm assassinated, we're going to take, I've left orders to take out the entire Iranian population, basically.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, I mean, what that does is, that's anybody that now
it's like Israel is always like, Trump, please regime change, please bomb the hell out of them. Don't stop till they regime change. No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it unless I'm killed. Then we're gonna cause regime change.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Trump. Thanks for letting us know. We'll be back.
Yeah, precisely. And who has the global reputation for assassinations? It ain't Iran. It's Israel that brags about it on a regular basis. And there's that golden pager still sitting behind him in the Oval Office. That was Israel's little gift.
That pager, that golden pager, really hit you, didn't it? You've mentioned